Here we are with our third of a three-part series, right? I'm doing the sign language three. So this has been if you haven't watched episodes 1 and 2, go back and watch those first because we laid a lot of groundwork. And again, this series is all about weight loss for entrepreneurs and other high-achieving Type A. Daniel, you're familiar with this avatar, I'm sure, right?
No, I have no idea who you're talking about.
So the reason I have Daniel Thomas on from Evolution Eat is Daniel regularly works with high-achieving, successful people. They're doing really great work in business. I mean, they're successful in so many areas of their life. And one thing that I wondered about this, I said, is there anything that's unique about someone who is traditionally a high achiever in life, when that comes to, having that kind of that close to ideal body that we want, do we sometimes get in our own way because of that personality? And thanks to Daniel, I learned that, there's absolutely some things. So if you haven't, again, watched the first and second videos or listened to the first and second podcast episodes about that, please go back and listen to that. Got my friend Daniel Thomas. Daniel and I have been working together for, as of when we're recording this, close to 2 months. And Daniel has an amazing program. He works with his clients. And there's a couple of ways. You have a great group coaching program, Daniel, and then you offer individual coaching, which you and I have done over the past getting close to 2 months. I've lost well more than 10 pounds. I think I'm about 12 pounds lost right now. And what's really great is, beyond just dropping the weight because I've done that before where I just white knuckle it and I'm like, I'm going to eat under 1,000 calories a day and I'm just going to starve myself. But because I'm such a strong-willed individual, I can do that. But and I know now that that's not really sustainable, right? Because you're only going to do that for so long. And then, of course, you get back into regular life. And I can just tell you, having gone through that yo-yo so many times, that, I keep rebounding up and it's not fun. I'm kind of tired of that, quite frankly, Daniel. And I think that, a lot of your clients have not only lost weight, in some cases, significant amounts of weight, they actually keep it off long term. What's the difference?
Yeah. Thank you for the acknowledgement. And I'm really happy that you're losing weight and not white knuckling it anymore. We've talked about that. That's a winning strategy that might work for a few days on certain select projects, right? Having crazy willpower is good for solving problems and for acute projects, but it's not a long-term strategy, right? And when it becomes a long-term strategy, well, then it's actually no strategy at all, because white knuckling is a path towards burnout, and you don't want to burn yourself out. I don't mean burnout like psychologically breaking down, having a whole breakdown. I just mean at anything that you're doing. So if you're committed to losing weight, but then you burn out, that means you're no longer motivated. You're no longer intrinsically connected to it. You no longer care. And you probably develop a whole host of other unhealthy habits that in order to continue coping. So what the way that I help my clients achieve results is that we have to recognize that there's a bigger game being played. If the only thing that you had going on was losing weight, then sure, let's obsess about it. Like, let's obsess about it every day, all throughout the day.
Like, imagine going to the Biggest Loser ranch, it's
right. Yeah. But right. Exactly. And even, believe me, I've got a lot of problems with that, but like,
oh, I know.
my point is that I'm working with people who have massive responsibility, entrepreneurs and executives who have huge teams, tons of followers, tons of expectations, lots of things going on, other coaching clients, just, families. They can't be focused on this every second of the day, all the time. So to the point that they're obsessing about it and making it mean something about themselves, or else, right? Because psychologically, they're then going to they're going to psych themselves out, and they're going to feel so removed from their goal that they're going to feel like a failure. They're going to feel like a loser. They're going to feel all sorts of unhealthy, unhealthy associations that don't serve them. Also, there's just the energetic and performance element. If you're starving yourself, your performance is going to suffer, and you've got way too much going on and way too much responsibility to take that on, right? Like you can't take that on. So we got to be playing chess, not checkers. And that means my job as your coach is often to hold the line and help you practice patience to get the result. And to do that, we're going to learn it. We're actually going to learn how to build habits. And habits to me are core. Habits are actionable manifestations of a core identity, right? Of your core identity. So I'll say that again. It's an actionable manifestation of your core identity. What does that mean? It means we all have these principles and these beliefs about ourselves, these aspirations, right? But that's an internal thing. So a habit is something that's repeated and automatic, and you do it, right? So a habit is you expressing a core element of your personality on a daily basis. And when that becomes repeatable and automatic, that thing that you do is yours to keep forever. And so my goal is to help you create a lifestyle of health, starting with the way that you eat and what you eat and how you go about that. That's a core representation of who you are, right? So if you want it to be somebody who's just racing to the finish line and jamming it in and burn, then sure, that might be supportive to you, but I doubt it. No, you're a leader who's building a company or building a team or serving your clients or whatever it is that you're up to, right? Who wants to be living in integrity and being the best version of themselves to help those around them and to touch those around them, right? So we want to train that identity into the way that you're taking care of yourself as well. And you know what my clients really discover throughout this whole process is themselves, is that by focusing on generating a life of meaning internally and then extrinsically showing that to the world and showing that to themselves, that is like, how do I build a lifestyle that takes these parts of myself and who I want to be, and then makes that a daily practice. Not only do I lose weight, but the process of getting there is meaningful. I learn something about myself. I discover who I am along the way. And that sense of surprise and discovery is what has them enrolling themselves into staying committed, even when motivation dies out, because it will die out sometimes. You know, you're not always going to be 100% jazzed up to be doing this every single day, right? Because motivation,
trust me, that's true.
yeah, right. Because motivation is it's influenced by circumstances in your life. So I think of this as lower C circumstances, all the things that are happening beyond our control. We slept poorly, our spouse is angry at us, our kids are sick, our client forgot to pay us, you know. All of a sudden I'm not very motivated to eat well if the only thing that's driving my connection to the path is like how it's going on the outside, right? So distinguishing lowercase c circumstances from capital C commitment, right? When you're committed to something, it represents something bigger than how you're currently feeling, and something bigger than, and circumstances influence how we're currently feeling, but commitment is an anchor or a North Star that shows us the way. And so when we work together, I'm helping my clients find a part of themselves that's either gone missing or they've never allowed themselves to see, or they were scared to confront. which has them re-enrolling in their own commitment, because now it becomes a commitment of self-discovery. And
It is.
that makes weight loss like awesome, but not even the best part. Right? So,
because
again,
we you know, I think it could be really tempting for someone to say, well, weight loss is just about knowing the right, it's just very tactical about
Right.
knowing the right food to eat, and, you know, whether or not we should be eating carbs or fats or proteins, it's the macros, or it's the timing. And yeah, I mean, that stuff is important, but it's not nearly as critical as what's going on in here. Because
yes,
what's
it's
going
your
on in here, the
relation-
psychology
yeah.
drives the activity, and it's the activity. And I talk about this as the micro commitments. It's, you know, my 12 pounds lost so far, and we're on a consistent train at this point. Like, I'm hardcore committed at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and it's, if you want to know the secret to dropping 12, 15, 20 pounds, it's honestly, it's 10 to 15 to 20,000 little decisions I made. That's what it is. And I'm only, like I said, only about halfway there at this point. But at this point, what's really great is I'm not starving myself at all. Like, right. I'm making decisions, and you and I have been doing this, Daniel, during the holidays. So, and listen, there's plenty of excuses I could have made, you know, but I just, you know, with your help, and again, to the person who's watching this or listening to this, I can just tell you that this system that Daniel and I are talking about, it absolutely works. It's worked out so well for me because, you know, it's just as simple as me snapping a photo, texting you that picture of what I'm eating, and then sometimes we engage back and forth. And initially I was afraid, Daniel, that you were going to, like, you know, I was going to take a picture and you're like, no. What's that stuff doing? Like, I thought you were going to, like, nag me. And like, you've never done that. Like, everything is just, you know, all about being conscious in what we chose, and not these, you know, little hiding out here or there with food. And what I find oftentimes too is those little indulgences, like, okay, do I want a bowl of granola right now? Yeah, because that would taste so good right now. But if I eat it, I got to take a picture of it. I got to send it to Daniel. Daniel's not going to, like, you're not going to chew me out for that. Right. But you're going to ask me a question like, oh, hey, what were you thinking in terms of, like, not like, what were you thinking about? Like, you know, tell me what went into your,
what's going on over there.
Yeah. Now you're making me want to, you know, now I have to, you know, so this is the secret right here. It's about no longer making unconscious or actions based on unconscious decisions. It's everything is conscious. And if you can be conscious, yes, about every decision, then it's game, set, match.
Yeah.
The system you designed, honestly, is, you know, like I said, you know, I still have about, you know, I'm at the 50% mark right now. Got 12 more to go. Dude, I lose 12 more pounds, I'm going to be one happy camper. I can tell you that.
Oh, but we already,
what's great is I'm not eating, you know, powders and all this other junk. Like, I'm just eating real food. I'm healthy food, like food I enjoy.
We both know that you're going to get there, because what we're talking about, Josh, is that your core identity is being shaped by this experience, and you're pouring yourself into it, and it's therefore more meaningful, and you're experiencing life from this identity as a healthy person who does healthy things for himself. And during the holidays, when you're out and you're on, I mean, not only did we do this through the holidays, but you also did this while on a week-long vacation at that one point at the beginning, right, where everybody was eating other food, and you know, there might be moments where you feel like, God, I have to, there is a bit of a sacrifice to the greater cause, right? But never has that been, oh, I'm going to starve myself. I'm going to make myself physically uncomfortable or mentally or emotionally uncomfortable. right. My job is to make this as inviting and rewarding an experience as possible. And what people often do when they try to lose weight is, you know, as you said, diet down, white knuckle it, eat under, way under deficit, exercise way more than they're accustomed to. And again, that leads to burnout. Where most people start the process is where they actually want to end up. And so imagine that this was a different skill set. Imagine that you were learning how to play the guitar and you're like, when I can play like Jimi Hendrix, I'll know that I'll have gotten there, right? So then it's as if you've never picked up a guitar before and you try to solo on day one, like Jimmy, and you're like, I can't do this, screw this, I quit, right? It's not gonna work. The thing about our health and our diet is that our white knuckling it thinks that we're getting it for a little bit, but actually it's still just not gonna work. It's the same thing as you not getting it at all. And therefore, where you can't start where you want to end up. You might end up one day eating 500 calories under deficit, under what you're currently doing, and exercising 5 days a week and eating clean and healthy every single meal, whatever we've defined that to be for you. But that might not be where you're at right now. It probably isn't, in fact, if we're working together. And that's not a bad thing. We just have to see where you're at along the developmental curve, and then create a quote unquote program that works for you now and where you're evolving into. And again, that's not just that takes a dynamic interaction where I'm seeing who you are and what you're taking on and what you're committed to, in order to figure out exactly what works and what doesn't. But it definitely means that we need this to be a nourishing experience for you. If you hate this experience, if you're white knuckling it and you hate it, you're not going to learn that skill. You're not going to learn anything. It's like cramming for a test. It's like pulling an all-nighter for a test. You know, taking Adderall and slamming coffee. You might get the A on the test the next day, but if you feel like death for the next 2 days after that because you didn't sleep and you took all these uppers and you don't even remember anything for the finals and you've got to study all over again, then what was the point, right? Like you didn't actually learn. There's nothing that's been learned. You got a good grade, but you didn't learn anything. And so I don't want you to have to keep pulling all-nighters on your health. I want you to learn and master this skill set, which means you have to nourish yourself. So you can't starve. You've got to eat enough of the good stuff, which is what I say to you every single day. And to make that real for anybody who's listening, eat enough of the good stuff means start out, if for a general population, right? If you're just any person I plucked off the street, 3 meals a day, each meal consisting of a protein, a healthy protein source, a healthy fat source, and a vegetable. Yes, even breakfast. If you can practice that habit every day, 3 meals a day, then your baseline is now eating 3 nutritionally dense meals every single day. I'm not saying don't eat other stuff on top of it. I'm not saying remove anything yet, but make sure that you have that foundation in place. You can add stuff to it, but make sure that you have that foundation. I guarantee that over time, that alone will have you making, well, obviously you'll already have made healthy choices, but you'll also start craving the unhealthy stuff less and less and less. Because what we often do is that we make compromises. We say, oh, I'll just have this cookie and I won't have lunch, or like I won't eat, the healthy food because I'll have this cookie. And so we keep making compromises left and right. So 3 meals a day, every day, the rule of 3, right? Protein, fat, vegetable. That alone would change so much for so many people. And that's basically what you and I are doing right now. And it's working, right? You're eating enough. It's healthy food. It's helped counter unhealthy cravings, and you're not starving throughout the day. So you're not reaching for the unhealthy stuff. And because we're in communication and you have to take photos and we're practicing being mindful, every time you do feel triggered, you reach out and you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And then we can course correct in real time. So you decide to do something healthy instead, or at least not eat the unhealthy food if you do feel triggered, right? So it's no surprise that you're accomplishing a great amount, and I'm really happy for you.
So you've created a program, and right now someone can go to evolutioneat.com/Josh. Now, if they go to that link, Daniel, they won't have to go through your system to get to you. You've actually agreed to do a free coaching call, kind of do some planning for 2020. And you can kind of talk about, maybe what you would recommend. Of course, you'll talk about, how you could potentially do some great work together. And man, I'm just telling you, Daniel, the reason I really wanted to do this, I talked about in my previous videos, but I know that this is life-changing. One thing that I've learned in business, Tony Robbins will talk about, 95% of the success or failure of a business comes down to the psychology of the owner. And so, the same thing goes for if you want to have an ideal body. And so I had to take a hard look at myself. And I had to say, and I'm talking both when I was pushing I was 230 a number of years ago. And I said, listen, there's something that's not optimized with my psychology. And it's tough. Daniel, what we're talking about is a skill set that's certainly not taught to us by food marketers, that's for sure.
No.
And honestly,
Likely
it's not even very well taught by, an Eat Less, Move More campaign from the government. It really has a lot less to do with that. And so what I want to let someone know who's listening to us or watching us right now, I don't want you to feel bad because I just said, listen, I was overweight because my psychology was not optimized. I didn't know what I didn't know, right? I only knew what I knew. And so one thing I've learned about in business is that if you want to try and figure this out on your own, that is an approach. And you can keep doing that. And in my experience, I have good short-term success, but it's not sustainable. So one thing I've learned for success in business, in life, man, I try to get coaches for every single area of my life. If I can, wherever I want to improve, I invest in. And so for weight loss, I could just tell you from my own personal experience, man, wouldn't it be amazing if you could just take Daniel around with you everywhere you went? Every time there was a temptation, he's right there with you. And you could say, man, those cookies look really good. What do you think? And Daniel could just like, well, tell me what you're thinking. Right? And it's like, wouldn't that be amazing if you could do that? Well, you would invariably be successful in getting that body of your dreams. And so, Daniel, the way that you've set up your coaching is just, I think it's just fantastic. So one more time on the, just again, I think we talked about the accountability piece, but what someone will expect on that 30-minute or that conversation, that evolutioneat.com/Josh. What else are you guys going to talk about?
Yeah, we're just going to, there's no expectations from my side. Like, yes, obviously I have a business. This is my work. We're talking about it. There's an opportunity for us to work together if there would be a good fit. And that's what, you're looking for help to work on this part of your life. But Josh, you're a really important person to me. And I know that you work with a lot of people for whom, like, I speak their language. I get it. And they represent my, the typical clientele who I work with. So I'm here to help. We will look at not just the goals that you want to accomplish for 2020. That's important, but I'm more concerned about what are the predictable patterns of the past that keep repeating themselves, right? Yeah. In other words, how are you going to sabotage yourself in 2020? Right? And because how have you done that same thing time and time again? Right? Let's identify that. Let's confront that. Let's talk about that. And then from that awareness, let's put some measures in place that would have you knowing that you're moving forward, and also some constraints so that you're getting the support that you need. Right? And let's have a conversation from that place. That's what I'm here to help you do. I'll also tell you about, if you have questions about dietary stuff, everybody's always got a million questions about that. Happy to talk about that. But those are important, but it's second or tertiary to who are you being about it, and how has it gone in your life until now? And we've got to confront those things in order to then break through them. So and then at the end of the conversation, if you were interested in working together, then we've got one-on-one and group coaching programs for that. And again, I'll just help you figure out what makes sense for you given where you're at.
That's awesome. Daniel, before you and I were introduced by a mutual friend. And one thing that I really appreciated was, I went and found a couple of podcasts that you've been interviewed on. And so that gave me some time to kind of dig into, well, what's this guy all about? And so I just knew it was really important that if you and I were to talk about, weight loss for entrepreneurs, I thought it would be really, really helpful that people could spend time and actually learn some great content. And I know that that's what we've been able to do in this kind of three-part series, both in our podcast, The Thoughtful Entrepreneur, and our YouTube channel. If you're listening and you want to watch my interview with Daniel, you can see each of us. You can see Daniel and see if he looks like a trustworthy guy or not. So you just go to Up My Influence in the lower left-hand corner. You'll find a link to our YouTube channel right there. And so, Daniel, again, thank you so much. The URL is evolutioneat.com/Josh, and that'll get you past the gatekeepers straight to being able to grab some time with Daniel. And
great with me.
Again, yeah. Daniel, congratulations on all your success. You've helped so many other people. I'm honored to be on that journey, to be among that group. I love all these amazing photos of people that, have dropped like 30, 40, 50, 90 pounds since they started working with you. And of course, again, I think one thing that's fairly unique is, this ain't Weight Watchers. Your students, your clients, like they're having successes in so many other areas of their life because again, it's the psychology that's changing. It's not, well, I know how to count points better. It's so much more than that.
This is health and wellness. To put it simply, this is health and wellness meets self-development or self-mastery, where you get to master these parts of yourself in a way where you get to discover something about yourself along the way. And for entrepreneurs, I know that's what we're up to, right? We're always looking to improve and develop and learn. So I would love to be part of that journey for you and just to be a resource for you. So if you're interested in taking me up on that offer, then let's set up a time to talk. And Josh, just thank you for being so enthusiastic about your commitment to your own health, but also in sharing the good word with your people. You did not have to do this. This was this is a very kind gesture, and I really appreciate you.
Awesome. Well, Daniel Thomas of Evolution Eat, thank you so much for joining us and talking about weight loss for entrepreneurs.
Thank you for having me.